I miss old Assassin's Creed.
It is a good life we lead, brother.
The best. May it never change.
And may it never change us.
I'm going to be talking about the current state of the series from my perspective, being an OG Assassin's Creed fan, playing those first few games that came out on the PS3, and just ranting a bit about the things I don't like about the current games coming out from Ubisoft and what I really miss from the older games. My love for the series started with Assassin's Creed 2 actually, and then I later played Assassin's Creed 1, borrowing these games from a friend that lent them to me all those years back. I went through to play all the releases going all the way up to Syndicate. I felt hooked in right away going through key places like Florence and Venice in Assassin's Creed 2 and Rome in Brotherhood. I was deeply immersed in the stories of Ezio and Altair, as well as the world of the Assassins versus Templars, and it felt like I was going through all of these events myself. The feeling of getting hyped when you finally got the best armor in the game was completely unmatched. These games were peak Assassin's Creed games when you could sense the passion put into them instead of the greed that most of the common Assassin's Creed games have now. They were simple games that mainly focused on stealth and tailing your targets, but they were executed perfectly during those times in my opinion. What really ruined the original feel for me were the RPG elements that they started to put into the game, mainly with Origins. One of the things that really bothered me were how you couldn't insta-kill with your hidden blade anymore, a key feature of the original Assassin's Creed games. In Origins, you needed to upgrade your hidden blade to actually do more damage or insta-kill enemies. Enemies would be certain levels now, and you dealt damage to them with hit points. The countless hours of grinding to pad out the game were really unnecessary for these games. You can tell that this was also done for the newer Assassin's Creed games on purpose so that you can spend more money instead of them giving you more content with the time savers they added so that you can purchase. Why would a single player even need this in the first place? I didn't want that MMORPG feeling from Assassin's Creed games. If not, I would have played a completely different game. I wanted the original Assassin's Creed feelings, but improved for these newer games. On top of that, the mainline plot that spanned across the games was essentially forgotten by Ubisoft. Desmond's story ended in Assassin's Creed 3, where he sacrificed himself to save the world from ending, but releasing Juno at the same time. After that, you yourself were essentially the main character in Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and the games entered the Juno arc, which spanned the next few games, and DLC, which made no sense to me, and eventually ended in a comic, which is so disappointing. It shows that Ubisoft really just wanted to distance themselves at that point from the mainline story and not have to deal with it anymore. Now, the newest game I bought myself was Unity, but didn't buy Origins with the switch to the RPG approach. Unity, ignoring the bugs, was actually a pretty good game and the last true Assassin's Creed in my opinion. Now, I know some will say that Syndicate was technically the last true Assassin's Creed game, but I feel like Syndicate was just Unity toned down a bit because of the bugs that the previous game had. Now, at the end of it, post Unity and release of Syndicate is where I feel it went down for the series, since it caused Ubisoft to take a break and make Origins with the extra time that they had. Now, I would say Unity was the last true Assassin's Creed game for me because it provided a charismatic protagonist similar to some like Ezio. Obviously not a one-to-one, and I prefer Ezio over Arno in Assassin's Creed Unity, but I would say it's the last true sense of Assassin's Creed 2 that we got in a game. A densely populated city of Paris and still focusing on stealth like the previous games. There's a reason why there are videos going back to play this game in recent years. AC Unity in 2022, AC Unity in 2023, AC Unity in 2024. Unity was a buggy mess at launch and felt janky, but after the patches were released, it really felt like it could have been a better product if it was polished when it first released on the PS4 and Xbox One. Also, once you get used to the parkour in the game, it can actually be pretty fun. The change to RPG did bring a new flux of people in, but essentially Ubisoft forgot about the original fans from the previous games. And I do understand that sometimes you have to switch things up and bring innovation into newer releases, but I felt like they could have done this in a different way. Now, I haven't played the game myself, but from what I've heard, the options in Odyssey that you can choose from didn't really matter to the end of the game, as well as a map that was too big with too many side quests that would just essentially waste your time in the end. Now, I will refer to JV's video if you want a more in-depth approach into the lore of Assassin's Creed, mainly the mainline story, as well as So Says Jay's video for a more in-depth look at every Assassin's Creed game that came out since Assassin's Creed 1. I just wanted to shout out both of them because their videos were the ones that inspired me as well to create this one that I'm doing right now. Now, I'll go into how I feel like Ubisoft couldn't improve these Assassin's Creed games for the original fans in modern day, and those are just some small things. Like, I want to compare Assassin's Creed to Hitman World of Assassination a little bit, and how they could have gone for that approach, you know, really honing into the stealth elements of the game, you know, different iterations on assassination missions where you can have different approaches, time limits, and different weapons, etc., you know, just to have more replayability for these games, while also having different locations and different targets to go after. And this is the type of DLC that they could have gone for to fully support these games once they were released. Now, I say this because with the newer games, you feel more like a warrior and, you know, just grinding out your stats and just invading forts essentially to gain experience and raise your levels so you can go on to the next thing that you're going to do, compared to, you know, really honing an approach on these stealth missions and getting to your target. Now, multiplayer was actually pretty good during the Ezio trilogy, you know, involving that cat and mouse gameplay, and I believe that if they actually wanted some type of multiplayer gameplay, they should have improved on this and just continue iterating with every release. They could have added to it if they really wanted microtransactions in the game, you know, just separate skins or maybe cool events happening during these multiplayer games, instead of adding time boosters essentially to games so you can finish a single player game faster. Another thing I wanted to add was how they should have never moved the mainline story with the Juno arc in DLC. I feel like it just shows that they had content for the Juno arc, but just decided to not put it in the main game when it released. Moving away from that, Ubisoft decided to release a confusing roadmap for the future of their series, and talking about Assassin's Creed Infinity. Now, at first I thought this was going to be a multiplayer game that would span across all the new single player releases coming out, and somehow that multiplayer game would incorporate some features or maybe even just skins and things like that from the newer releases coming out. But at the end of the day, it seems like it was just a hub that they would make similar to Call of Duty, where you can just launch a game from Assassin's Creed Infinity and play it right there, I guess. With the release of Mirage, I thought they would separate the original Assassin's Creed feeling with these games compared to the RPG games and just completely separate the two. Even though I haven't played the game myself, Mirage going back to Baghdad, a few miles away from the location of Assassin's Creed 1, and even taking place before the events of Assassin's Creed 1, I thought they might have been going the right direction and going back to the roots of the original Assassin's Creed games. It was a shorter experience, and they went back to the stealthy gameplay of original Assassin's Creed games, even bringing back instant kills with the hidden blade. But what prevented me from trying out the game was the teleportation mechanic they added, and I think that completely broke the game, making you feel too overpowered and just feeling more like a magic ability than anything else. Now, to wrap up the video, I really wish Assassin's Creed can find its roots again, but with the direction that AC Shadows is heading, with RPG elements again, and two different characters, one not even being an assassin or playing like an assassin, and the poor decisions that Ubisoft is making, I really don't see them going back. I don't know, what do you all think? Let me know down in the comments. And if you're an original fan like me, do you enjoy the newer games, or do you wish Ubisoft would go back to the roots and finally make an original Assassin's Creed again, but not in the way they made Mirage? With that being said, thank you guys for watching the video until the end. Let me know if you like videos like these. I might make one for Fallout in the future. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I catch y'all later in another Mob Cola video. Peace out.